Okay, we're talking about the new BC Strata laws coming into effect a few weeks ago. So when the premier changed from John Horgan to David Eby, very early he put in a policy into place, and it might seem like we're a little late to the party here, but and this is actually an article when he proposed it, but it's already come into effect. So basically, what's happened in BC is that there's been some strata changes that affect any property that's strated. So that is we mostly think about condos, but you will see a lot of towns that even houses have bare land stratas that have rules for their strata. So this potentially all affects all of them. Um, and so, really, two things that are big here: removing the age restriction. And so, a lot of condos will have a 19 plus age restriction, and the BC government has made it illegal to do so. And so, they're still allowing, if you have a seniors complex at 55 plus, they'll still allow that. They see it as being a different purpose, but they can no longer have a 19 plus 19 plus restriction. Now, it's noteworthy is that Alberta has also already made changes to that emotion. So the 19 plus strata, I think that's going to go by the wayside um, in a lot of places. So they've banned that. You can't have a 19 plus strata. They've also banned rental restrictions. And so what some people may not realize is I might buy a condo. One of the bylaws is that only 10 units can be rented at one time. And so that gives significant lenience or not lenience, like significant control of the strata counts on that. And so they've banned that. So those two changes came into effect immediately. Now, what do I think about this? First thing I should say as a general rule, I never really think it's a great idea for governments to intervene into things. So that always gives me a moment for pause, even on these types of rules, because I think that like governments never think things out properly. I mean, that is just something I truly believe. And I also am a big believer that markets create some of these situations regardless of government intervention. I think that as a whole, the I think that although I am not complimentary of our provincial government at all, I think that on this particular issue, I think the spirit and the intention is the right intention. The belief is that there is not enough rental housing. And so, because there's not enough rental housing, we have to make sure that all the units that can be rented in some form are available. And that in itself will bring down costs and availability. You won't have people that can't find places, and hopefully, on some um, to some degree, you will have um, places that are cheaper. Now, I think the market does this without government intervention. I think that as a whole, I think what you're going to see is I think you're going to see a lot of complexes that had a restriction. That they don't have the restriction that's going to make them more valuable. So I think that will put price pressure upwards on that. So great time to be buying some of these strata units that haven't had the price increase because they have a rental restriction or age restriction that does put down price point and that'll be eliminated. So I'd be buying those up pretty instantly if I was thinking of something like that. I think what you'll also see is I think a lot of people will buy these um, buy these condos, especially buildings that had rental restrictions on them. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of folks that buy those up and rent those out. My guess is that in these units you're going to see a lot of pressure as far as price points. Like I think what you'll see is that you'll see lots of these stratas that may have been cheaper. I think they're going to go up in value, and I think that is obviously there are some advantages to some folks, some disadvantages to other folks on that. However, if you have more supply in the market, this is something that I think people don't realize. If there truly is more supply in the market, so let's say, for example, there's only 50 condos that we rented in all BC. If I've now changed that, and if there's 50 condos rented in BC, but there's 100 people looking, that's putting on price pressure on the rent. Price pressure on the rent, and so those rents become more expensive. They become more restrictive. You say no pets, no kids, because there's a lot of people looking, and so they can premium the rent and be more selective on tenants. If it's true then that this increases the supply, then you have that, and now all of a sudden we had 50 units, but now we have 150 units and only 100 people looking. Undoubtedly, because this is how markets work, this will mean that you have less selective landlords and there's more inventory, and there is going to be downward pressure. And so the question becomes, um, the question more is, will the trend be that there's still too much supply? Will there still be too many people looking over how many units are available? But if there's an oversupply where there's more units available than people are looking, that's going to change the price pressure. And I think that story is yet to be written. I think we don't know the answer to that. But anyway, this is exactly what this has done. This is where we sit today. If you have any questions, or we can help you out with a rental purchase, or even getting into your own home, when we have some of these units, now these units become more appealing for a young family. Please do reach out to us. We would love to help you in your mortgage journey. And if this video is helpful, would you mind sharing it and taking the time to subscribe to our channel? We would love that as well.